Frak, this podcast, come and listen to us talk about Battlestar Galactica. It's a show that we're talking about. Hello, interwebs. This is the Frak, this podcast, and I am your avian host, Jesse Gender. And I'm joined as always by...
It's Vera. What genus of avian are you?
Yes, I am a genius avian.
I
don't know the different genii.
I like to think of myself as a corvid, personally.
As long as I have the cloaca.
Yeah, that kind of comes with the territory.
Yeah.
The fact that was your specific, like, that if I don't have the cloaca, no deal. Like, that's mildly concerning.
Yeah. Well, look, all I'm saying is I played enough Mass Effect, and my boy Garrus is a Birdman, and I love romancing Garrus, so you just gotta be aware of what he's got down there. So...
learning to navigate that cloaca.
How are you, Vera?
God, we haven't talked in ages.
I know, it's been so long. It's not like we just finished recording the last podcast.
Yeah, if folks didn't remember last week's podcast, we did mention that we doing a double recording on the same night because Jesse's abandoning me.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to be here next week. We usually record just 2 in advance, but we're getting ahead a little bit because I will not be here to record next week because I'm going to be on the Star Trek cruise, which will already be done by the time you listen to this. But I probably had fun. So
I hope so. Speaking of having fun, given that we're doing 2 in a row, this means this is my second glass of wine.
Yay, drunker! Get drunker! Whee!
Don't encourage me.
Get drunker! I'll encourage you. It's fine. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're having fun. Well, let us, I guess... Oh, God. No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing it. No. There's a natural transition here.
Come on.
Considering we're talking about cloacas, the title of this week's episode is The Sun Also Rises. Get it? Get it? Penis.
Yes. And because this episode was it was so clever and so unique because it's The Sun Also Rises, but it's not Sun S-U-N, it's Sun S-O-N because it's like real clever and stuff.
Because we're talking about Lee Adaba.
Yeah.
Whee! All right. Let us get into this episode. Which, despite that...
Oh, and just so people are keeping up. Yeah, we're not doing feedback because, again, 2 records in a row. There isn't new feedback for us to cover.
Yeah. So, unless y'all can somehow give us comments through time, which would be cool if you could, we can't do it. So.
That'd be amazing. I'm going to check my notifications just in case. See if anyone pulled it off.
Did anyone get it? If you created a time machine, please use it to come back in time and give us your comments on last week's episode.
And tag me on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm going to check.
Right. Just to let you know, we're recording at 6:34 on February 16th. So
that's 6:34 Pacific time.
Yes, Pacific time. So make sure you set your time travel machines accordingly.
Nope, nothing.
I love that you actually checked.
I guess they have better things to do with their time travel.
Yeah. I don't know what, but do you ever see that sketch? Do you ever see that sketch? There's a really funny sketch.
Unfortunately, all the terrible people are still alive, so nobody went back in time and assassinated them either.
That's the joke of the sketch. There's a good sketch where this guy comes back from time travel. And he's wearing weird stuff. He's got a time travel hat on. This guy sees him in his park. He's like, what are you? It's like, I just went back in time and killed the worst man in history. It's like, what? You killed Hitler? No. Who's Hitler? It was Bob whatever the hell. Yeah, he killed 10,000 people. And he's like, 10,000 people? It's like, yeah, it was the worst mass murder in our history. It's like, oh no, do you tell him? It's like it just like shows him Hitler. He's like, "Oh my God, I made it so much worse." It's like, "Yeah, I think you just made it worse." It's like, "Oh, I'm not actually a time traveler." It's like, "No, I actually believe you're a time traveler, though." It was a good sketch. But anyways, yes, let us talk about the sun also rises. Where we get introduced to one of my favorite characters on the show. Uh, we start off the episode with Adama still sad from last week's episode, where
Aw.
and he's looking at photos of Starbuck, going through her file. This is intercut with some other stuff that I'll get to in just a second, but he's looking at her file. He's seeing all the disciplinary notes.
Yeah, it's like disciplinary action, disciplinary action, disciplinary action.
Yeah, which is very funny.
Yeah,
Uh,
that is legitimately pretty funny.
Yeah, there's also a birthday card, which I also thought was pretty funny. It was very cute, where like the birthday card says, "Oh, I've told I feel it was like I've told we have a family resemblance or whatever," and then open up the card and says, "Do you see it?" And it's like a picture of Starbucks but with his mustache drawn on.
Yeah, it's like it's a photo of her with like the mustache drawn on with a Sharpie on the picture.
Yeah, it was cute.
And he laughs at it. Like
Yeah,
and it's yeah, it's real sweet.
yeah. So he's sad and in the grieving remembrance phase. Um, During this, we also see over on Colonial One, they are pulling names of captains out of a jar randomly, as we will later learn for the tribunal.
Hmm.
So there's people watching. It's like it's being observed, and Tori's pulling it out. And Tori, as she pulls the names, she says "Oh," which we presume means Adama. Got picked, as we will later confirm later on. So Adama's on the tribunal.
Hmm.
And
No
then
conflicts of interest there.
no, and that won't come up later on at all.
Hmm.
Um, we then have Anders is drunk over a viper. He is clearly also grieving Starbuck. And he's like flipping a coin. It's like, hey, it's heads every time, sort of thing about like luck. Um, and we have Apollo is debating putting Starbuck's photo up on the wall, but then someone comes and gets him to deal with Anders. And Apollo goes and talks to Anders, and he's like, "Hey, let's go down and get some sleep. You know, you need it." And Anders is crying, and as he's going down, he sort of gets a little aggressive, not like angrily so, but like gets kind of aggressive with Apollo, and like he falls, lands, and when Apollo goes and checks on him, he says, "She's still alive, right?" And Apollo's like, "No, she's gone." And then Anders says, "I know," and starts crying.
He plays this really, really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
the actor who plays Anders is pure gold in
Mm-hmm.
this, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. It's funny because I met him a few weeks ago, so it was really nice because he was at that
Oh,
Twilight.
Misty.
He was the actor, one of the two Battlestar Galactica actors at the Twilight Zone, um, reading that I was at. Him and the actor who plays Tori actually was the other one. So
Cool.
yeah, it was nice. It was funny because we both ended up. I was like trying not because these people get swarmed at these things, but we ended up
Yeah.
both walking. It was like me, and then he was a little ways ahead of me and my friend as we were walking to go get our cars from the parking garage afterwards. And I'm like, oh, that's Anders, but I'm gonna not be weird and like just walk slow, so I'm not walking next to Anders. It's just an odd thing. So it's one of those things where it's like he knows in a room of fans, so I don't want to be like the fan is like, hey, saw you in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
How do you make small talk like that? So it's odd. Anyways, so we then cut to the CIC. And there's like other Viper pilots out doing patrol, and Ty says, "Yeah, I'm never thought I'd miss Starbucks yakking." So he's sort of dealing with it in his own Ty way.
Hmm.
Um, Adama, but then Ty also tells Adama when he comes on, "Hey, you won the lottery. You're one of the 5 captains to serve on the judges' tribunal," because he hadn't heard yet.
Yep.
Yep. Um, then we have a scene where Kat is there picking up Baltar's lawyer to fly him back to the or not Kat, racetrack.
I was gonna say
Yes.
that'd be quite a trick.
Yes, racetrack, excuse me. Racetrack is flying Baltar's lawyer back to his other ship, and she's complaining about him. He's like, he's always in my ear whispering, and the lawyer shows up, he's like whispers in her ears, like just as a joke. Um, yeah, and she's like, yeah, if he takes his shoes off of my raptor again, I might have him killed. And then there's some talk on the deck of between the crew hands, like, oh well, why does Baltar even get a lawyer? Everyone knows he's guilty. Callie sort of just steps in and she says, well, he's entitled to a trial. It's in the name of justice, and one of the other people's like, we already all know he's guilty, that sort of stuff. So like that sort of talk. But then, as the Raptor door closes, a bomb goes off in the Raptor, killing Baltar's lawyer.
Yep.
Wow.
And it is kind of funny because I part of me was tempted to say like, boy, that guy didn't matter, except he actually kind of did canonically because he was the lawyer who was smuggling out Baltar's little manifesto.
Yeah, as we'll get reiterated later on in the episode. So
yeah,
he did.
So like
important.
he actually mattered. He gets one scene and then gets blown up, but given what contextually we know he did actually matter.
Yeah. Well, he got a SAG card from that. He did have a line, so actor got a SAG card.
There you go.
Anyways, we then cut to after the opening credits. Rosalind is giving a press conference about the explosion. One of the questions asked, how would you replace Baltar's counsel? And she says, we're working our way down the list. And one of the reporters also, I was saying it, one of the reporters also sort of asked, like, well, we all know that this clearly wasn't an accident. So of the context of the explosion, are you going to be changing up by having the trial? Is it in the best interest of the fleet to continue doing it? And Rosalind basically answers, we will not allow terrorism to alter the framework of our legal system. So still pushing ahead with the trial.
Yep.
We have Apollo then giving a sort of briefing to the Viper pilots. And we can clearly see he's a little off his game. Like, Hilo has to correct him on a sector that he mentions, like, oh, you meant sector 9. Starbuck tries, or sorry, I did what he does in a second. Because Lee, tries to, correct. He's like, yeah, plays it off. But then he starts giving other orders. But then during all of this, when, Athena makes a joke, Lee says Starbuck's name instead of Athena, and everyone sort of realizes oh, he's still in the throes of some level of grief. He's not on his game, so he just
which is not played nearly as well or as interestingly as Anders's.
No,
it's fine, but it is. See, this is the kind of depiction of grieving. I'm like, okay, how long are we gonna do this? Like Sam's scene, I watched that and went, oh, dude, broke my heart. That was beautiful. And then I watched this and went, okay, yeah, fine.
Well, then we cut over to Rosalind interviewing a potential new lawyer for Baltar, Romo Lampkin, played by none other than Mark Shepard, who I fucking love. I adore Mark
Shepard. Is hard not to love.
Yeah.
So just for reference for people, this was Crowley in Supernatural. He was in the Doctor Who two-parter with The Silence with Matt Smith. Mm-hmm. He was on Firefly as the semi-recurring character Badger. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's very charismatic. He commands the camera very, very well. And showing up here, looking like Matt Murdock.
Yeah, he does. They're definitely doing a Matt Murdock thing with him, which
like between the scruff and the dark glasses, I was like, damn, they got Daredevil? Okay.
Yeah. No, I love it. No, he's great. Like Mark Shepard, I love him, and he's very great as Romo Lampkin. I don't know if this was my first time seeing him in a show. It might have been, actually. This might be it. He also was an episode of
Firefly was the first time I saw him.
Yeah, it was either this or Firefly, because I caught Firefly on DVD and I don't know which order. I might have it was around the same time. I don't know if it was which came first, but it was around the same time.
Well, Firefly came first, but
Firefly did come first. I might have watched Firefly after this. I don't remember, because I didn't watch Firefly until after Serenity came out. That I know, because I missed Serenity in theaters, and then I caught.
I went to a preview screening of that movie when I was in Boston.
Oh, fun! Yeah,
it was fun.
It's a good movie.
It's mostly a good movie.
Yeah. Well, Joss Whedon aside, yeah.
Well, no, it's not even just. Oh God. Okay. Not trying to make it a thing. The fact that Mal doesn't kill the operative, I kind of hate.
Hmm.
Like it is very specifically okay. I'm not going to reiterate full context of this. If you know the movie, then you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I'm sorry. But like he has his initial opportunity to kill him sort of in the climax of the movie. And I'm okay with the fact that he doesn't kill him there. I'm actually okay with that because he leaves him in a situation where he's been beaten and he's had his, the thing that he was fighting for has been shown to him to be bullshit. I'm like, cool, fine. But then later after that, there is a scene where like they are calmly talking, and that is where I go, fucking bullshit. He would shoot him between the eyes.
Hmm.
I do not, and like, I've had people try and argue to me that like, what? But Mal's gone through an arc, and he's not the same guy. As like, I agree, but he's still someone who would shoot somebody between the eyes who killed not only women and children, but his personal friends. And like, I get leaving him behind, but like confronted face to face with him, he would not let that man walk off his ship alive. Bullshit. I hate that. I
Yeah,
hate it.
fair enough. It's been long enough since I watched the movie that I don't have enough remembrance to argue the point. So I'd have to go watch. I have to go rewatch. Like I remember the general shape of the movie. I just don't remember the nitty gritty enough to argue the point. Anyways, moving on. It is Romo Lampkin, and he's wearing his great glasses. Um, and Rosalind's interviewing him. Is like, yo, it's comfort to know you're not afraid to represent the most hated man alive. Like, why would you do this? And he goes, for the fame, the glory. um, and Adamas would ask, like, you have experience working public litigation office on Caprica. Do you have the qualifications to do this? And he says, well, I was born for this. That and the fact that I have a pulse. so he's just a fun guy. During this, a cat jumps up on Rosalind's desk, and Romo grabs it and says, "Oh, it belonged to my wife. I despise him as much as you do, having to hire me." There it is. Shall we get started? So, yep. So this is Baltar's new lawyer.
I called
Mhm.
that your favorite character was going to be Baltar's lawyer.
Yeah, he's great. I love Mark Shepard, and he certainly has some fun here with this character. Um, we then cut to Apollo and Adama talking, and Adama sort of saying, "Hey, you're gonna handle security detail for Romo." And Apollo sort of calls out, "It's like, oh, you're grounding me." And Adama still keeps trying to play. It's like, "You're the only one I can trust. We need to keep him alive." And Apollo's like, "I'm fine. I don't need to be grounded." And Adama's like, "No, you're not." And Apollo says, well, "How do you know?" He says, "Because I'm not." Hilo's gonna be taking a step in as CAG. I want you on the ship, not up there. So yes. So
I
that's
mean, like, not to mention, dude, it is arguable. I'm not gonna take this point, but I don't think it would be unreasonable for anyone in universe to feel that, like, you know, Starbuck died and she should have been grounded. So you really think we're not gonna ground you?
yeah, exactly. So it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So then we have Apollo meeting with Romo in his quarters that he's getting. He's like, here, we have two Marines stationed outside the door. There's co-ed showers, that sort of thing. And Romo's like, well, I'd like to see my client now. Um, and he's like, hey, you're king of the pilots, right? We can stand here and discuss why you're stuck with me if you'd rather that. Sort of calling out that he knows that Apollo is not. This isn't usually his typical role. Um, and he's like, all right, well, but Romo sort of poo-poos meeting in the usual places like the interrogation room or even his room right here because like this is probably all wired. I would want to do this without that. So let's bring him to your quarters. And he's like, I have a right to consult with my client in private without anyone eavesdropping. And he makes this point of like, see, whoever cares the most wins is always the rule in law. Something that he learned from Joseph Adama, Lee's
Yeah.
grandfather, who we will meet in Caprica, I should say. And we get a lot of talk about him this episode. So,
Well, the reason he brings up that line, whoever cares more wins, is because Adama has said flat out, like, I don't care where you meet him,
mm-hmm,
and so he's like, great, I care about it, you don't, I win.
mm-hmm, exactly. So, but then Lee sort of notes like, oh, you knew my grandfather, and Ron was like, I hated his guts, but he taught me everything I know. So. We then have a quick little cutaway to someone making another bomb. Ooh. Oh no. Then we have Balthar being led down to Apollo's room. I like seeing him. He's got a whole get up on, like he's got a bulletproof jacket and everything.
Yep.
Um, and so we goes to the meeting, and Balthar's like, he's points to Apollo's like, "What are you doing here?" And Rome was like, "Well, he signed confidentiality papers."
Yeah,
Um,
because Lee had been insistent about the fact that like I can't leave you alone with him. So
mhm,
apparently the compromise was him signing stuff that says he won't repeat anything he hears.
yes. Because good to know in the post-apocalypse, paperwork still has power. Your NDA still holds weight. Uh,
Yeah, that's definitely what we need surviving the apocalypse is NDAs.
um, yeah. And Balder's like, oh yeah, security. Yeah, security's already toasting my other attorney. That guy at least smuggled out my papers, and he sort of says, "Do you have any papers?" Which Romo gives him, and Balthar starts writing more manifesto-y stuff. The nature of
Well,
modern
he
life is
has this whole
obsession.
thing where he like sits down and he's like giving Lee the side eye before he fishes the pen out of his
Mm-hmm.
crotch.
Mm-hmm. So then he starts asking, it's like, so do you tell me, do you think I'll get a fair trial? And Ron was like, doubtful, but you haven't exactly been helping yourself, and Balder's like, well, I need to get this manifesto out and everything. You're going to try and stop me about it. He's like, no, no, please keep the papers coming. The manifesto shows great change in you, keeps them all guessing. And then Balter sort of points out, it's like Caprica 6. I'm worried about her. They can use her to completely destroy me. I need to know what she's thinking. I need to talk to her, tell her. And then this is very clearly, he's like, the way it's played, and I think it's played well, where he's like, this was his actual concern. He was worried about what she's going to say. And then he kind of has like, yeah, I need to tell her how much I love her very much. And then he kind of
Yeah,
looks over at Adama at that line. So,
yeah.
yeah, at Lee, I
Like
should
his
say.
his actual concern is that if she is a witness against him, he's fucked.
Yes, exactly. So, um, and I forget exactly the line, but Romo quotes Baltar's manifesto at this point, which seems to impress Baltar. He says, "I've done my reading," um, and he says, like, once those papers arrive, I suggest you do yours. So, yes, yep. We then cut to Romo and Apollo talking, and Romo's like, "Fly me over to Colonial One because I need to get those like files that we should be getting from Colonial One." And Apollo turns him down a little bit, and he's like, "Would you rather be the parade float for bereavement? Everyone's walking around like you're bleeding out of your side." To which Apollo like grabs him and shoves him up against the wall, and he's like, "Oh, there is still someone alive in there. I need those files, and if you come with me, I might just get them." Keep me alive or stop keeping me from doing my job, essentially.
Yep.
So we then cut to Apollo and Romo going up on a Raptor. Commander Kelly, who I have not seen in quite a while.
It's
Uh,
been a hot minute.
but he's trying to convince Apollo to stay here. He's like, hey, don't do this to me. You're ordered to stay grounded. I don't want you to go on this thing. And Apollo sort of ignores, he's like, I'm going to do it. It's done already. And he gets into the Raptor against orders. And we see underneath that there is a bomb on the Raptor. But just as the Raptor doors are closing, the cat, Romo's cat, jumps out. Very, very lucky cat. Um, and they sort of go looking for the cat who went underneath the raptor, and when they do, Chief finds the bomb. So,
Yep.
mm-hmm. Then Adama cut back to Adama and Apollo, where Adama is chewing out Apollo. Basically, I gave you an order, the bastard was yanking your chain and everything, and it's like Adama
Yeah,
is
he's pissed that Apollo was about to leave
yes.
Galactica.
And he calls out, it's like, you missed, there was a bomb on that ship and you missed it. You were supposed to be security. I gave you explicit
Well,
orders.
it's a little bit more of a back and forth, and I kind of liked it because
Mm-hmm.
Adama's like, you shouldn't have been leaving the ship, and Lee says, well, he was going to get papers. I'm his security, and Adama just snaps back immediately. Yeah, you were security, and you missed that there was a bomb.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I gave you explicit orders, and Lee was like, well, Athena was piloting, and Dom was like, well, you could have died, plain and simple. You're a soldier, start acting like one. It's like, oh, I didn't realize the clock was running. It's been 2 weeks or whatever. It's like, and they sort of get into argument about loss. He's like, Adama's like, don't you dare quantify my loss. Oh, and he's like, oh, yours is deeper, yours is greater. Um, and Adama's like, in 2 weeks there's going to be a trial, and I'll do what I'm supposed to do. You need to do what you're supposed to do and build a nest around this man, and you protect his ass.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both grieving and sad, and it's coming out in bad ways. Aw, aw. We then have the chief talking to the ground crew with Callie there and a few others. Athena's there as well, and he's sort of looking at the bombs like this fracker meant business. And Callie's there. It's like it's hard enough to watching them die, but Baltar should die, sort of thing. Callie's like, well, I believe the Silence wants us to destroy ourselves. They're making us suspicious of each other, and they'll just clean up the mess when they show up. Athena says, you're wrong. And then Callie says, well, some of us don't get a second or third chance. So,
Which I here's the thing. I kind of like Callie's point, and it feels relevant, in a we need to not just immediately start pointing fingers at each other way. But the way that it gets twisted into like a her versus Athena thing feels real forced.
Yeah, it's an odd thing.
Yeah.
That
It's
makes sense.
like it starts as a valid point, but then like first of all, Athena getting defensive because like it seems to be implying that she gets defensive at the implication that the Cylons want them at each other's throats when she
Knows
knows
that that's
that
true.
that's a fact, and
Yeah.
she has not gotten defensive towards the Cylons before, and like the whole thing's weird,
Yeah.
which I suspect is going to pay off down the road in horrible, awful, very bad ways.
Yeah, I don't think so. But anyways, we'll see. Anyways, Apollo is sort of reading the like riot act to Romo. Is like, hey, if anything changes, you memorize this room. If anything changes, they're in Romo's room. It's like, don't touch it, don't open the door. Romo seems to be unconcerned. He's like, if they want to kill me, they'll find a way. And he's like, who do I have to bribe to talk to the silent woman?
I,
Um,
I love his focus.
Yes. We then have a quick little scene where Baltar is trying to write more. He's like reading some stuff and then he goes to write some more papers in his cell, but then he can't find his pen. We'll find out more about where that went in just a second. Then we have a scene where Roslyn and Apollo are talking. He's like, Lampkin wants to interview Six. And he's like, all right, you can do it in the interrogation room. And Apollo sort of says, well, you shouldn't be present at those meetings, referring to Adama, who's also there. And he's like, well, actually, I monitored the chief prosecutor's interview, so I should be there in the interest of fairness.
Yeah.
Which,
Actually.
Yeah, exactly. Conflict of interest.
Yeah. Like I do actually though kind of appreciate that it doesn't come across strictly as like him trying to manipulate his way into the room, because like the idea of the interviews have to be conducted the same way and it has to be done in fairness is brought up earlier in the scene, and then he's like, well, I'm gonna be in the room, and Lee's like, yeah, no, you're not. He's like, I was in the room for the prosecutor's interview. Like, it's supposed to be the same, it's supposed to be fair. And so I like that there feels like there's a little bit of actual conflict going on there, wrapped in the fact that they're kind of cobbling this together from a legal perspective.
Then he sort of asks about like the documents that you requested from Colonial One, and Tori says, "Oh, we're having trouble locating the files. We'll get them to you right away." So that's just the thing. I will say, cause I thought what was going on here, and I'm saying this now because it's actually not played that way. I actually thought it was like they were trying to do some bureaucratic bullshit of like, oh yeah, because this happens a lot in like actual law where like people request files and they'll be like, oh yeah, we'll get them to you at the last minute, or we're taking a while to find it. Turns out they're being earnest here. It seems
Which
is odd.
It's odd and it feels misguided. Again, it's one of those things because we've run into this before. I feel because they don't want to sully Roslyn. They're like making her sincere in a way that someone in her position of power almost never would be. And it just lends a veneer of insincerity to the proceedings.
Yeah, it's this show is a little bit too Parks and Rec at times, in the we believe in the goodness of the system sort of thing.
Yeah.
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 Um. Anyways,
Abuse their power. Why would anyone do that?
no, the system just bad apples in power, not the system itself.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. Anyways, we then cut to Caprica Six's interrogation by Romo. Um, and Rosalind, Tori, and Adama are watching. Um, and the first thing he sort of asks, like, "Oh, you had a romantic relationship with Baltar?" And she says, "Oh, he's a gifted human being. You know, I did love him. He's narcissistic. I'm the one, you know." And she sort of goes off and says that I'm the one who should have stabbed him. To which Rosalind, listening in, other people can't hear, but Rosalind listens in and hears this, says, "Oh, things are looking up for us." So she's like, "Yeah, good. She's on our side." Um, but yes, Romo sort of asked, "Well, love, not sure if it was engineered as a tactical imperative, but not an emotion for the faint-hearted," sort of saying that silence can, experience love. And he's like, "Well, perhaps silent love is not the same as human love. Perhaps it's designed to hurt less," which Caprica 6 takes offense to. And Romo sort of gives this big monologue about, like, I loved a woman. She was a beautiful woman. You know, her I like the phrase, it was a frowning face trapped in the middle of a daisy, which was a very evocative turn of phrase. Um, but anyways, he's like, basically, our relationship fell apart after 10 years. It's a good speech, but I won't go through it all. But relationship fell apart after 10 years. And, you know, I feel the weight of it. I was tossing and turning in my bed. And I sort of realized that I did love her. And if I needed all that strength, what was the point? I needed to be with her.
So, like you said it's a good speech. I'm going to push back on that slightly, not in any specifics, but I had kind of alluded to this in our last recording.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure it's a great speech on paper.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure the writing is great.
Mm-hmm.
He sells the shit out of it.
Yeah, maybe it's just Mark Shepard is just a
I think
fantastic
it like
actor.
I'm not gonna go so far as to say the writing's bad. I don't think it's a bad monologue. I just don't think it's an exceptional one. But
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna
damn,
be like,
the man goes to town on this thing.
yeah, this is why I love Mark Shepard, because he's fucking great.
Yep.
Um, but yes, this sort of spurns Capra Six to ask, like, well, did Gaius ask about me? And this moment, again, I love this acting choice. I don't know if it was in the script or not, but this is the moment where he takes off his glasses, puts
Mm-hmm.
them on the table, and looks right into her eye. And given what we're gonna about to see here, it's like, oh, he's just laying on the emotional manipulation here. And he says he wanted to know if you were well, wanted you to know that he misses you and loves you because he couldn't be here to tell you himself. He gave me this to give to you, and he gives her Baltar's pen, which Adama Lee clocks immediately is like, but doesn't say anything because, like, Baltar did not do this.
No, Baltar did not give him the pen to give to her, but Lee, like, you partially he signed a thing saying he wouldn't say anything about that, but also like I suspect he's like, okay, I gotta follow up on this later.
Yeah. But Romo keeps going and says he uses this pen at risk of great appraisal, put his world into order to be heard, and he keeps it hidden because he knows he will not get another. He wants you to have it because without you, it has no meaning. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, just do it again, lay it on the emotion manipulation of her. He would do anything to be with you. This does seem to move her a little bit, but she says it's a shame, you know, that they won't let me keep it. Because I was thinking that too. I'm glad they pointed it out because I'm like, no way they're letting her keep that thing because she could just use it to stab somebody if she wanted
Yeah.
to. She gives it back to him, or at least puts it on the table. Yeah, and Romo sort of points out, it's like, you understand that your days are owned, and that these people, the ones that are watching this, will what's likely to become. You know what's likely to become of you because of the people that are watching. I couldn't even help you if they paid me 10 times what they offered me for Baltar to get you a fair trial, not even a bad one. So he then asked the question, does your love hurt as much as mine? To which she says, yes. And Rosalind says, I feel like part of our world just fell down. So, which I get, like, I will say, like, ethically fucked up, But this was a really fascinating scene of how well Romo manipulated that to get her on
Yeah,
his side.
like I find him really fascinating as a character because he's not he is not being presented as like a do-gooder lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of expected somebody kind of slick,
Mm-hmm.
if they were gonna try and represent Baltar.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's interesting that like he does, clearly unethical things. Like not that stealing a pen is like the greatest sin in the world, but like from any
But lying
and
to her and yeah.
yeah, like the bar association anywhere would have his ass for what
Yes.
he's doing. But at the same time, he is doing it, or at least appears to be doing it, in service of his client and trying to get to a good end by sketchy means, which is always more interesting to me than the dichotomy you sometimes get with lawyers, which is corrupt lawyer bad, honest lawyer good. I always find it more interesting to get somebody where it's like, okay, kind of corrupt lawyer, but also like maybe there's something there. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's the kind of thing that you'll get sometimes with stuff like The Firm or The Lincoln Lawyer or things like that. And I like that dynamic.
No, I really like it too, and I will note this is the element of the stuff that I like about one of the things that I like about Caprica because we'll get to talk about Joseph Adama in just a minute, but he is a main character in Caprica and he's portrayed very similarly. He's probably a little bit more on the do-gooder side than Romo is, but he has certainly got a little bit of willing to do unethical things in the interest of his client thing, which I liked about that show. So yeah, we'll
Nice.
get there. We'll get there when we get there. But yeah,
I am at this point more looking forward to Caprica than I am at finishing this show.
yes, yes, yes. We'll see. Not that that show doesn't have its problems, but I certainly
I
am impressed
mean,
with it.
like it's Ronald D. Moore. I assume it has problems.
Well, that's the thing is I don't remember if he. I know he is a credited showrunner. I don't know if he was is nitty gritty involved. Actually, I'm curious now. I just want to at least look this up. Created by Ronald D. Moore. Yeah, Jane Espenson and Kevin Murphy are like the main ones. Ronald D. Moore and David Icke are credited as executive producers on it, but they are not listed as the main. So like involved, but not as nitty gritty as he was on the show.
Okay, then there is hope.
Anyways,
Sorry, Ron. I'm not a fan.
yeah,
After getting as far into this show as I have, not a fan.
yeah.
Not looking forward to seeing more of your work.
You want to know what just pissed me off recently about him too? And like I used to be a big fan of Ronald D. Moore, and there are things that I do like about as a writer. I do like his like Deep Space Nine work, and there are things that I do like. One thing that just recently pissed me off is he's going to be show running the God of War show, and he
Yeah.
said, "Oh, I haven't played the games."
Oh yeah. I think we've even talked
Did
about
I?
this
Yeah, and
before.
I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like,
Yeah.
frustrating.
Didn't play the games and doesn't intend to.
Yeah, it's like I'm sure you watched YouTube cutscenes, but I mean, like, come on, man. Like, I'm not saying you ever have to. Like, I am not someone to be like you have to one for one super respect the source material and do like, but you should play the thing and have a level of like wanting to evoke the themes of it. You
Yeah,
know?
because like a game is if a game was just a series of cutscenes, then they just would have released the cutscenes on DVD and called it a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like part of a game is the game feel and how you feel by playing it, and you can't be told that. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't understand what that experience is, then you don't actually know what you're adapting.
Yep.
If you don't know what the experience of playing the game is, then you don't actually know what it is you're trying to translate to the medium of film.
Yep. Which makes me very nervous for that show, which is sad because I really like those God of War games a lot. Actually, one of my favorite franchises in gaming to date. Which is surprising because you'd think they're like, oh, toxically masculine games, but I actually think they have a lot of interesting things to say about masculinity.
Hot
Also,
take.
mhm,
There should only have been one God of War game.
I will turn that down. You can argue in the Greek trilogy, but you don't need God of War 2 or 3. That's fair. The new God of War games I really adore, especially the second one.
See,
Uh,
I won't even necessarily fight you on that because I haven't played those because I would get motion sick.
hmm.
But I played the original trilogy. They should have stopped after the first one. And I enjoyed playing 2 and 3, but from any narrative perspective, stop.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I can agree on that point. But God of War, the new ones, um, the Norse trilogy as they're called, are fucking amazing. Some of my favorite depictions of the Norse gods ever. I really like the themes and ideas presented in them. Also, it has a bisexual dwarf who I fucking love, a very horny bisexual dwarf. um, that I really love. I adore those games to death, and they might be some of my favorite like stories in gaming. So I really like them. So I really like the God of War series. So yeah, fuck you.
Okay. When?
Fair response. We can talk about that later. No, we then cut to
Second glass of wine.
that's where we're at now.
You
We
asked for it.
I did indeed. We then cut to Romo and Apollo in the lounge. They sort of go there to get a drink. Um, and Apollo starts asking Romo, I was like, well, why encourage a man, referring to Baltar, to write and take his pen? And Romo says, well, he'll curry more sympathy when we get word out that he's been silenced. You know, tyranny, gag orders, very sexy. Which again, I like. So he's like, you steal his pen, you lie to him, you lie to Six. And he's like, the cloak to the seat. And he's like, and Apollo's like, Apollo says, well, yeah, truth, I guess it's kind of overrated. The disillusioning of the young idealistic Apollo. Is what's
For
happening here.
like what, the third damn time? Like,
Yeah.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
I like the scene. Well, Apollo sort of says,
Like the scene's fine, but like the fact that they still lean on him as like the idea that he's the idealist or the paragon or anything else, I'm like, no, the dude's a piece of shit.
yeah. I mean, I think that's what the thread they're trying to pull on here. But he's not like so like I'm so wide-eyed and you've disillusioned me. But it's certainly along that path. I think is what's happening here.
Yeah.
Anyways, um, Apollo sort of tells a story about Joseph Adamas. Like when I was 9 or 10, my grandfather would wave me over and he'd say, "Lee, be a good boy, just don't be too good." Um, and which kind of alludes to what I was talking about earlier with Joseph Adama. Um, and Romo says, well, everyone has demons, them, Baltar, you, me, even the machines. The law is just a way of exercising them. That's what your father's father taught me. Want to know why I hated him? He was right. Which I like that. That was a good point. It's like law is a way of exercising them. And again, I like this idea of like a lawyer who's not like, I believe in the inherent goodness of the law and the law proves all and like everything. Like again, we were talking about that with that dichotomy of we sometimes get lawyers who are like, I believe, maybe the system doesn't always work, but I believe in the inherent goodness of the system. And he has no Romo does not have any of that disillusion, that level of like, love of the system sort of thing.
Yeah. But he's also not so scummy as to be, just the total sleazebag lawyer either.
Yes. And Apollo says, well, you hated him because he was right, and I hated the law because it was wrong, because of what it put him through. And he's talking about Joseph Adama here. He defended the worst of the worst. I remember reading about him, the outrage, helping murderers and thieves and outlaws go through. Why did he put himself? And I always thought, why did he put himself through all that abuse? And Roma goes, you think he gave a frack? He cared about one thing, understanding why people do what they do, why we cheat on our friends, why we reward our enemies, sacrifices our lives for lost causes, why we build machines in hope of correcting our flaws and our shortcomings, why we forgive, defying logic and laws of nature with an act of compassion. We're flawed, all of us. I wanted to know why, so I did what he did. I spent my life with the fallen, the corrupt, the damaged. Look at you. You were so ready to get in that rafter with me. Be the bad boy. So yeah. Yeah. I think I skipped a bit there, but
What just kind of sank in for me
mm-hmm.
because and you kind of brushed past it, which is fine.
Oh
For the
yeah, no,
record.
no. I assumed you were condemning me.
But no, later.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't worry. Um, the the idea of like wondering why he would get these thieves, these killers, and help them go free. It's interesting because it's just kind of now hitting me how our media tends to default the perspective of a lawyer gets their client acquitted as getting murderers and criminals off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that is the default framing that our media tends to portray it as, presuming that they are in fact guilty, but for the lawyers and
Mm-hmm.
not and rare and like unless the entire point of the story is innocent man wrongly accused, it is always presumed that the accused are guilty and the lawyer just finds a way to get them out of it.
Yeah, the worst depiction of this I think is in Law and Order. We always have the like, oh, the attorneys defending the people that the cops are going after are not always, but generally speaking, kind of jerks. Um,
Yeah,
or at least
they're
framed
either
as.
they're either jerks or incompetent if it's the public defense. That got which is another bullshit thing. Public defenders are idiots, and
Mhm.
professional defense attorneys are scumbag assholes.
Yeah. No, and I really like this whole thing here of what I like about his portrayal here is he's not necessarily doing the other thing, which you also sometimes see, which is well, everyone deserves a fair trial and innocent until proven guilty, which I'm sure in some level Romo believes. Which I also agree, like everyone does. Like I'm agreeing with that point. But the argument that he makes is kind of different. Like he says he gets into this because he like wants to know why people do what they do, which is a much more interesting perspective, especially when you understand a lot in our society. Even the people who do like, not everyone innocent until proven guilty. A number one, and not everyone who's accused of things are not actually have done them. But also in our society today, a lot of the people who do commit some level of crime, be it stealing or whatever, has a reason for doing so, often caused by these circumstances in which they are involved in. People steal a lot because they don't have money, they don't have the ability to feed themselves or whatever. There's numerous circumstances that are systemic and not necessarily the fault of these people. Not to say that people who do bad things don't have some level of culpability or responsibility in their actions, but it is certainly a multitude of factors that I think Romo is kind of getting at here, that I think is very interesting, where he's not just going to the, oh well, everyone's innocent and I'm going to say there's people that deserve to be defended and everyone's innocent, but he's like more like, I want to know why people do what they do, which is
Yeah.
very fascinating.
Yep. Now that is interesting. I think, and this is a tangent, and I'll try and keep it short. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but I know I've seen it. I think my personal favorite perspective that I like seeing defense attorneys portrayed as having
Mm-hmm.
is that like my job is to make sure that the prosecutor is actually good at their job.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm not here, they get to just do whatever they want. I'm here to force them to be correct. And if they're not correct, they lose.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
that's kind of my favorite perspective on that.
Yeah,
But this is
definitely.
good too. I like this.
Yeah, no, I like this as well. I really like this. Um, and so then this is where Romo kind of starts pushing Dom away, or Lee away a little bit. It's like, what are you doing in my business? I feel like I'm handcuffed to a serial contrarian. My bed is made. I suggest you toil on your own. If this cross-examination is over, I'd like to take a crap. But as Romo is leaving, Adama asks him, "Is like that story you told about the woman you loved? Is it true?" And Romo says, "Yes. Whether or not you believe him is up to you, though." So, mm-hmm.
There,
We.
I'm trying to think what it was that. Oh, so like you know what I thought he was gonna say?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I thought he was gonna say the story is true up until the part where I said I got over it.
Mm.
That's what I thought he was gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah. But he didn't. I kind of
Nope.
like this. I kind of like this better, where it's like he says yes, but you don't know whether you believe him or not, which I think is
Hmm.
kind of that's more interesting to me than him just
Yeah.
like full on just saying yes and not giving any hint to some level of lying. So I like that. It's something I always, I mean, for reasons that you know, I always like this idea of truth and what constitutes truth and how do we examine truth and think about truth in the context of different systems. So
Truth is what we make it.
it is. And that, hopefully, one day that line will make sense to you two listeners. Because right now it's just an in joke between us.
I
Uh,
hope so too, because damn, man.
it's fun. It's fun. Um, and is move. I didn't tell you this. It is moving along. So, uh, let me remind me after this and let me tell you a thing about the thing that we're alluding to afterwards. Sorry, listeners. Leave this in just so listeners can get pissed at us. But remind me, I'll tell you something else about that project. Anyways, Robo is being escorted to his quarters, but then one of the deckhands comes up, says these are the files from Colonial One, and the Marines start checking it. And he's like, I was there when Kelly X-rayed them. It's papers. Check them. They check them. It is papers. I'm not entirely sure what happened here. Maybe you can help me. But like one of the Marines finds a nail, like a not a nail, a screw on the ground, and he like looks
Yeah,
up, and Rum was like going to open up his quarters
I
door.
I think the implication is that somebody like unscrewed like the panel to get into the room and rigged up something that would be set off when the door was opened,
Yeah.
I think is how we're meant to take it.
It's
I
not
only
clear.
kind of got it too because because the thing that I was focusing on, which it turned out didn't matter, was the guy who brought the papers. He's like, I was there when they x-rayed it. It's all just papers. He says that, but then immediately
Nearly just
leaves.
walks. Yeah. I'm like,
And I was like, okay, you're saying that, but you're leaving them with this thing. It's like you don't want to be near it, but then like that wasn't a
yeah,
thing.
it was a red herring sort of thing. Because that was my read too. Is like he's he putting it down and being like, all right, and bye, see ya. Don't worry about it. I'm
Like, no,
gone.
it's fine, it's safe. Go ahead and check it. Yeah.
But yes, that doesn't turn out to be a thing. But
No.
yeah, the Marine stops Romo from opening the door fully, and a bomb goes off when he opens the door. But Romo is pushed out of the way. No word on I think if the Marine lives or not. Uh,
No. That I was just thinking of that. I'm like, I don't think we know if that guy's okay.
yeah, yeah. Good for him though. He did his job well.
He did.
Yeah. Sad. Well, you want to know the way we could find out? We should go back and look at the first at the number count of lives in this episode at the start of this episode. Actually, you know what? Let me double check this. I am curious. I want to know if this
You
poor
want to
poor Marine died. Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna figure this out.
now keep in mind there should be a drop of at least one already because the lawyer got killed.
Yes, so it should be two. Should be gone
So
down by
yes,
two.
if the Marine died, that's two.
Yes. All right. So we have. Give me 2 seconds here. So the beginning of this episode, we have. I got it. Unless no, 41399. So 41399. So remember that. So remember 399 for me.
399.
And then the start of the next episode. So you want to know what's funny?
What?
This
Does it
episode.
go up?
No, no. This episode does not have opening credits because it's the season finale.
Ah, fuck.
So we will never know if that poor Marine died or not, unless we want to fucking count all the
Account for
Wizardians.
everyone who's inevitably gonna die in the finale and then try
Yeah,
and figure out if they did one more than that or not.
yeah, yeah. So who knows? Who knows? Alas, sad face. Shout out, pour one out for the poor Marine guy, whether or not he did die or not. I was hoping you'd do that. Anyways,
Nah.
we then cut to Romo in sickbay and he is healing. Because he's got a little injured. And Paulo comes in and he has a bag, and Romo thanks him for getting it before quote the hounds get it. Gets it. And in the bag, we learn is a bunch of stuff that he's just been stealing from people.
Yeah.
It's like the president's
Rosalind's glasses, which I don't think we mentioned because like in the scene where he's like trying to get the papers from her back on Colonial One ages ago now, she'd been like, I can't find my glasses. And like,
Mhm.
oh, he stole them.
Yeah, yeah. He took them. He took one of like I think like Adama's like little uh cuffs, I think was what it was, or
I
a
think it
button
was
or
a
something.
cufflink, yeah.
Yeah. And the Miss Prosecuting Attorney from down the hall. He has like different things. I think there's one that like there's like a whip, a sex whip in there. Yeah, at one point, which he says he got from different people. Anyways, he also like he has like shoes from people. Basically says this is
Oh,
my
he has one flip flop from
yeah
the prosecuting attorney down the hall.
yeah
And like Lee looks at him, gives him a look that's like, "Oh, you got a foot thing?" He's like, "No, it's not what you think."
yeah.
And Lee's like, "Oh, she drags her feet." And he's like, "Ah, see, now you're getting it."
Mm-hmm. Because yeah, he learns because he mentions a few things from here, like she looks better without her glasses when talking about her in
Talking about Rosalind.
Rosalind, yeah. So like he used this to like say something about people, even though he seems to be some sort of like not like super like some level of compulsion seems to be going on here. But
Yes,
yes.
I would say so.
Yes, but he's like, yes, this is my demon. I borrow things. And he explains it as like when my parents disappeared when I was 9. And I went to live with an uncle. And I stole from him to be able to escape, and I just kept on doing that. And he sort of said, and Lee sort of says, "What did you steal from me?" And Romo says, "Well, I was thinking of taking that picture, the picture of Starbuck that he's talking about, but you've had enough stolen from you."
I love the fact that he knows it's there, which means I don't know what the term is because I know like you case a building. I don't know if you case a person, but
Mm-hmm.
he cased Lee enough to know what he had on him that he could take, but he
Mm-hmm.
didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yep. And he says, check the other pocket. The guards took it from her. I borrowed it from them. This is Baltar's pen. So Baltar's pen is in there. And he puts it in an envelope to give to Baltar. He's like, you still have a case pending. If you want to help, if you dare to help, get this to my client. So, uh, and then Apollo looks in the bag again. And he finds like this little circular thing, piece of metal. And he's like, explain this. And he's like, oh, I don't know. I stole it from your schoolboy Kelly, who was trying to shame you for getting on the Raptor. And Apollo knows what this is. So then Apollo goes and confronts Kelly in the next scene, and Kelly sort of admits that he was the bomb maker.
Yeah, it's
Um,
clearly part of a detonator.
Yes, and he's like, I would not have let you and Athena go airborne with you on it. And he's like, lock me up. I don't want a trial. I won't stop. I will keep trying. I will keep at it. I did my job for 2 years. Every day they send people out to fight. I clear them all to die. So many people, I just got tired with living with that. And asked that man, ask that man. I think he's referring to Romo, maybe Baltar. I'm not sure. He says, giving his life up for a silent or a human, I had to do something. I think he was talking about Baltar. So,
Yeah.
yep.
So here's the funny thing. Under so many other circumstances, I'd be like, oh, you just pulled a random semi-background character who has popped up intermittently. We haven't seen it in ages. Like, oh, they're a bomber now. The thing is, I think this actually really works for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's partially because the single, like, I know he's shown up other times since then, but the single most prominent image I have of him is from all the way back in the miniseries
Mm-hmm.
with him just walking among the bodies collecting the dog tags.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that and like having that as my most prominent image of him in this show, it tracks for me that he's at a point where he's like, I can't, like, there's going to be this circus around this guy whose fault all of this is. And I love just his straightforwardness and like, lock me up. I don't want a trial because I'm not going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not apologetic, but he's also not necessarily righteous. He's just blunt.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I can't take this anymore. I'm going to keep trying to do this. You have to stop me if you don't want this done. And shockingly, I actually think this works really well.
Yeah, no, it works rather well. Yeah.
Which I think under 99% of circumstances, pulling a character as sporadic as Kelly to do this with, I think normally I'd shrug and call whatever, man. I'd either call bullshit or I wouldn't care. I actually think this works, which shocks me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes from like if you're going to pull a character who's like gonna suddenly be like an important twist or whatever, a reveal, it helps when he's been a character's been around a little bit, and also like there's a trajectory that you can follow in some level.
Yeah.
It like because he's gonna be off screen for so long, you can at least be like, all right, I see how that dot connects to this dot, even though we're probably missing like 20 dots in between there. I can at least see the dots being connected.
It's still an understandable progression. Like again,
Mhm.
movements in between, but there's a clear line.
Mm-hmm. So that's how you should do it if you're gonna do something like that. So
Yeah.
works. Um. Anyways, we then have and it also helps too that he's popped up here and there where he's like just been a guy who's been there. So like when he pops up in this episode, you're not like, oh, of course he's gonna be the bomber, because he sometimes just pops up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
There have been times where he's just, oh, they remembered he's
yeah.
they remembered he's a character, so he's in this one for
Mm-hmm.
2 scenes.
Yeah. It's like that actor he's like, hey guys, could I get paid a little bit this week, please? Um,
Guys, my house needs some work done. I could really use a paycheck.
yeah. Anyways, this is another scene between Adama and Apollo. He's restating Adama as XO. He sort of calls down to the flight deck and says that. And he sort of says, I guess I was wrong. And Apollo's like, oh, I made it worse, and you should be in your bird. But Apollo says, no, I should be with Lankin. And Adama's like, no, we can ease up on security. And Apollo's like, no, Romo needs help. I'm close to this case. I understand his strategy. I want to do this. And Adama's like, well, you're not a CAG. You're a CAG, not a lawyer. And he's like, you're not a judge. And Adama's like, well, I'm capable of listening to the evidence and making an ethical decision. And Apollo's like, I'm capable of helping Lampkin. Why did you give me your father's law books? Because you're afraid of being like him. And he's sort of like, oh, what is it now? It's like with Zach and Kara gone, you need someone to carry the flag, sort of saying like, oh, you want me to be CAG because you need me to sort of like echo you now that those two are gone. And he's like, you're a pilot and you're my son. I will not look across that court and see you sitting on the other side. Report for duty. And Apollo says, is that an order? And sort of reiterates it when Adama sort of doesn't say it's an order. And he says, I'm through giving you orders. So, yeah.
Yep.
So Apollo's going to be on the defense team.
Which is something I kind of figured was eventually going to happen.
Yes.
And I didn't have a lot of interest in it, except he plays off Lampkin really well. So this could actually work.
No, this is what I said when the storyline with Baltar is actually one of my favorites of the series because it works really well and actually does some good by Lee for once. At least to my memory. We'll see how well it works out.
But yeah. That's so rare.
Yeah.
That Lee is worth it.
Yeah. So thank God we are gonna hopefully get some good stuff with Lee finally. What I do think is interesting about it is it follows the trajectory with Lee that actually worked, which was way back in season 1. We sort of joked about it, but it worked a little bit in season 1 where it was like, okay, he was the sort of idealistic, this is how our system should work, against Rosalind's more like, this is how the system actually works sort of vibe. Yeah. And we kind of lost that along the way for the more Starbuck bullshit, romance bullshit. So this is kind of putting him back on that trajectory, which is a way more interesting use of him. So appreciate that. Anyways, we then have Adama going back out into the CIC, and he says, remove Apollo from the board. My son has more important things to attend to. We then have Apollo going and putting up the photo of Starbuck, like we talked about, and sort of ending the mini arc that we got from last episode, where he puts her right up next to Kat.
Yep. And I'm sure we will never see her again.
This is it for Starbuck. She's not in the opening credits.
That definitely means everything.
I don't know what you're talking about. Katie Sackhoff is 100% off this show. She's gone forever. So. I don't. It's not like there's a season finale coming up. I don't know what you're talking about.
Because, just that thing where we kill off one of the lead characters mid-season. That every show does, and it's always for real. It's always for real.
So just to say it too, this is for last episode. I should have brought it up last episode, but fuck it, I'll bring it up here. Because we were talking about the abuse stuff last episode, I did go and listen to the Battlestar Galactica podcast, the official one with Ronald D. Moore, to see if he had anything else to like illuminate his feeling, what he was going for with that abuse scene. I was like, did you intend it to read this way or not? He doesn't really. What I will say is in that podcast, whether or not if you believe him, keep in mind the podcast was released at the time of the episode, and he sort of says like, oh, like that we thought this was a good ending to her arc, and like a character who has always been running away from death, and now she sort of runs to it, and we thought it was a very good ending to her arc. So like according to Ronald D. Moore, that was the end to her arc. I will say I don't envy, because that podcast was released. It's basically the director's commentary, but it was released the same week the episode aired, and I would listen to them myself.
Yeah, and so they had to had to pretend it was for real.
Yeah, exactly. It's just fascinating as an artifact, because those are the official director's commentary on the DVDs as well. Like, they don't re-record them. So it is one of those, like, playing coy on the director's commentary that eventually gets to become the official one. So it's fun. So, anyways, Paula puts up the photo of Starbuck. Anders comes in, sees the photo. He's had a broken leg, it looks like, from his fall earlier, at least a sprained leg, because he's got crutches that he's going on.
Yep.
And, he says, yeah, this break gave me a reason not to come up here, but sooner or later you run out of excuses. It's hard to let her go. And Lee sort of like says, "I'll see you around." And I liked this because it was like, hey, the two guys are having a non-toxic thing. Sadly, it is about her being dead now, but at least these two
Yeah,
are
which
being
does kind of imply things would have been fine except for the woman fucking everything up. But
goddamn women. We
but
ruin
let's not
fucking
read into
everything.
that.
We do ruin everything. No, it's true. It's true. It's women ruin everything. If only women
Boys,
weren't around, men would
boys,
just be fine.
this is why you should just go ahead and fuck your bros.
Yeah, fuck your bros. Yeah.
You'll be so much happier.
But yes, there's a nice little healthy grieving moment between those two. And we end out the episode on a moment that I really like, which is Baltar goes and gets the packet. He gets the pen back and the thing that Romo sent him, and he reads a letter from Romo that says, "There's no greater ally, no greater it's a few things, but there's no greater ally than the son who chooses to step out of his father's shadow, Romo Lampkin," implying to me that Romo intended to manipulate Lee to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Which I really like because it means Romo was playing him. Even that scene where he's like going through all of his stuff and says, "Oh, you've had enough stolen from you." It was an emotional manipulation from Romo,
Mm-hmm.
which I find fascinating. And it's very clear he's playing it so that he would be able to play Adama as the judge. So, yep, love that. Romo is interesting. All right. All that being said, I will not do a spoiler minute because most of it's going to do with Baltar's trial stuff, which is coming in the season finale, so we'll talk about it soon enough. Anyways, what'd you think, Fira?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good character portrayed by a great actor. Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Yeah. I would agree. I really like this
It's
episode quite a lot. Yep.
easily one of the better episodes we've had in a while.
Yeah, no, this is a really strong episode, and like I said, it's why I remember really liking the Baltar's trial stuff, and I believe it holds up into next episode as well, which is the trial itself. Shocker of shocks is this part one of a season finale. So yeah, it's a really good arc, and I'm excited to see it. I'm glad that this part holds up to my memory at least so far. And Mark Shepard never disappoints. I fucking love that man, and anytime I see him show up in a thing, I'm like, fuck yeah, you're fucking great.
I've never seen him be anything but great.
Yeah, I remember specifically when he showed up in Doctor Who. It was announced before that season. I think it was like what, series 5 that he's in? 6?
Nope,
5 or 6.
6.
6, yeah.
It's series 6.
Yeah, when he shows up in series 6, it was announced weeks beforehand. And I had a bunch of friends who were Doctor Who fans, but they weren't like big sci-fi fans like I was.
Yeah.
And so when they announced that he was going to be, I'm like, "Oh my god, it's Mark Shepard. He's going to be in Doctor Who. I'm so excited." And all my friends were like, "Who?" But I was very pumped about it because he's fantastic.
That was I like those episodes, and he's good in them. And one of the things that happened in that I always thought was cool was because it's Doctor Who and there's time travel in this, his character shows up at 2 different ages, and the old version of the same character is played by his father.
William Shepard, who I was actually going to bring up because he passed away in 2019. Yeah, 2019.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not recently. That's 7 years ago.
I know, it makes me sad, but I do remember him passing away and being sad about it. Which, by the way, I was going to mention him because we've been talking about him recently because he showed up in Babylon 5 as the the Soul Hunter guy way back in.
Oh, right. I remember that.
Yeah. So I think Mark Shepard was in Babylon 5 as well, if I recall.
Was he?
I think he might have been at one point as well. Let me double check that. But regardless, you were about to say something.
I was done. So I can't cover for you.
Oh, well, thank you. Give me 2 seconds. I want to just double check. I have a vague recollection of him also being in that, but I might be making that up and just be like, oh, connecting the memory of us talking about his dad.
I think maybe.
It might just be. Man, like just looking at sorry, I'm just looking at his IMDb here. I forgot he's in Doom Patrol. He's great in Doom Patrol as well. He plays not Constantine.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's in Chuck. He's in Dollhouse. Like all these shows. Bionic
Oh,
Woman.
I forgot he was on Dollhouse.
Yeah.
Dollhouse is one of those shows I keep forgetting exists, and then somebody will come across it and be like, "Oh, right.
Wait,
that thing."
I forgot this show, Jake 2.0. Any remember that show?
I remember seeing promotional stuff for it.
That was a fun show. It was a show that was outdone by. It was doing the same basic thing as Chuck, and was less
Ah,
fun as Chuck, so it was not. It was like a less good version of Chuck. That being said, I wish it had continued because fuck Zachary Levi. Um,
fuck
but
Zach Levi, fuck Adam Baldwin.
yeah, yeah. What's her face is fine though. Blank on her name. She's in Handmaid's Tale now. Or was Handmaid's Tale just ended too, but she was fine. That actress was fine. Yvonne Strahovski, because she was also
Ah,
She was in Mass Effect 2 and 3 as well. She turns out she's actually a decent human being of the three of them.
glad there's one.
Yeah, I feel bad for her stuck on that fucking set. I'm sure it was fucking miserable. Yeah, I guess I made it up that he was in Babylon 5, but he was around at that time. He's like on shows like Sliders way back in the day, Star Trek Voyager.
Oh, sliders.
Yeah, this is why I thought he was in Star Trek Voyager. Both Mark Shepard and his dad were in two separate episodes of Star Trek Voyager. That was the show they both were.
Ah,
So, and I'm sure there was another
gotcha.
show they were both in, but yes. Anyways, Mark Shepard's great. Glad to see him here, and glad we will get much more of him. So there's more to see of Romo. Anything else of Vera?
No,
All
I'm
right.
tired and slightly tipsy.
All right. Well, that sounds like it could be the name of your autobiography. But speaking of stuff time.
Stuff! You can find my stuff by looking for Council of Geeks. Patreon pays the bills. That enables me to do this as my living. And the main thing that supports is the Council of Geeks YouTube channel. Since we doubled up recordings, we're even further out from when this will go out. So I haven't got a clue what'll have been up recently on the channel, but new videos every Saturday on the main channel. There's also the Break Room of Geeks, where I talk about whatever I have watched, listened to, played, or read lately. You can also find Council of Geeks on Blue Sky, where I post sporadically. That's pretty much it for the geeky stuff. There is, of course, also the spicy stuff.
That's pretty much it for the geeky stuff. Also the spicy stuff.
And for that, for that, you can look for Vera Wild.
You're really gonna use the wine bottle as the microphone?
Wild is spelled Wilde. And you can find increasingly spicy content on YouTube,
YouTube,
TikTok.
TikTok. I don't think we can show your YouTube channel. You can get that community strike if you want. Listeners, if you are listening to this on an audio medium, just know that the visual medium got very X-rated. Not literally, but very damn close. Anyways, you can follow me at Jesse Gender on YouTube as well, where I do video essay stuff. Who the hell knows is coming out? I got a video that's coming. It's definitely not the Ferengi one though. You'll have to wait for that like a good boy or girl, non-binary person that you are. You can also find me on Nebulous, the streaming service that has my movies' identities, as well as the upcoming show Subliminal that I direct an episode of, as well as the Ferengi video. I also have Patreon that also has the Ferengi video and gets yourself other videos early and things like that. So you can support me over there if you so wish. I am also on Blue Sky and Instagram, and I think that is everything. Oh, Jesse Ginger After Dark, where I am reviewing stuff. Not sure I'm reviewing at the moment. Starfleet Academy is probably done or close to being done by now, and I'll probably end up be reviewing something else in the near future. So be on the lookout for that. Invincible, probably. That'll probably be the next one I watch. So, all right. Anything else, Avira?
No.
Alrighty. With all that said, I hope y'all live long and prosper.
Be seeing you.